guys, it's me, FlawlessLee, and welcome back to my channel for another episode of Single Black Gay Male in America. And today, let's talk about sabotaging relationships. I mean, I'm pretty good at it. I have it's a skill that I developed, I don't know, back when I was probably in my teens, and I've only perfected it, and it's not something I'm very proud of, but it's something that's happened, it's something that I've done, and you know, I'm willing to talk about it. And maybe if I share some of it with you, maybe you'll recognize some of the things you might be doing and that might be sabotaging your relationships. And you know, first step is admitting it, and second, I don't know what the second step is, but I'm guessing it's start working toward the correction. But let's get started. So I'll probably tell you about 3 relationships. There are really only 3 that I purposely sabotaged. And the first one was Darren. Let's talk about Darren. So Darren was this guy, I think I was probably, I don't know, 22. And Darren was a good guy, but Darren was a little older. I think Darren was probably, he was probably 32 at the time. No, Darren was probably 30. And we met online on a site back in the day called Adam for Adam. Does that site even still exist? I don't know. Apparently, I used it as a dating site, but apparently it was a hookup site. I don't know. But anyway, this guy, he was actually interested in a relationship. He was a good guy. I mean, we had things in common. We talked every single day. We really were building that relationship. I mean, dude sent me flowers at work. I mean, he was like the perfect guy and kept pushing for, you know, a date and everything. And I was just like, you know what, fine, let's do it. So I met him at Maggiano's in the Domain. And this was my first time meeting him. We talked on the phone and everything. This was my first time meeting him. And when I say he opened his mouth and a purse fell out, I didn't know what to do. I mean, at that point in my life, I was still like coming to terms with, I don't know, my sexuality, and I wasn't so out there yet. And you know, this is kind of like one of my first public encounters or public dates with someone that I was seeing. So he shows up and I'm just like, oh my God, this guy is such a queen. And then we're talking and I'm just like, oh, my phone's ringing. So we're talking and I'm just like watching him and listening to him and watching his mannerisms. He reached across the table and grabbed my hand, and I was just like, ah, and he could see the uneasiness on my face, and he's like, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. So then he starts talking and we're talking about different things, and I started talking about, because at the time I was very, very, very involved with the church that my mom attends. Not so much anymore. I've kind of moved on to another church, but that's another story for another day. I was very involved, and he was talking, and then he said, you know, I'm gonna go to church with you one day. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 sir. No, you're not. And he kept pushing about it, and at that point I was completely turned off, and I was just like, okay, I gotta get away from you because you're really pushing me to be really gay right now, and I'm not ready for it. So I started making up all kinds of things. He started wanting to put things on my schedule, and I said, you know, I gotta do this, and I have this part-time job here, and I'm too busy doing this over here, and you know, I really just don't have time to do that. And he's like, when are we gonna see each other again? I'm like, oh, well, you know, I got overtime at work, and I have school, and I have all this other stuff. And he pretty much just smiled, and he's just like, let's go for a walk. So he pays for everything, by the way. And we go for the walk. And he's talking, and he tries to grab my hand again. And you know, at that point, I wasn't ready for that. And he grabbed my hand, and I kind of let it go. And he was just like, yo, you really are new to this. And I'm like, yes, I am. And I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. And he's like, you know what? He goes, it sounds like you're too busy for a relationship. He goes, I hear about, you tell me about your schedule. And yes, at the time I had an appointment book. So I was just like, yeah, I have to make sure I have to get you in my appointment book and things like that. I mean, I was doing any and everything to throw this guy off. And he finally was just like, you know what? This probably isn't going to work for us. It seems like you're too busy and you might not be ready to, you know, settle down and be in a relationship. And I was just like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. So He gives me a forehead kiss, and then we walk back to our cars and we go our separate ways. I have to say, me being in the situation that I am now and me at the acceptance level that I am now, that's the guy that I probably should not have let go or should not have done that to. And I mean, I've tried to contact this guy, I've tried to look him up. He's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. But he could have been the one, you know? But you always have to think about it. If he was the one, it would have happened. But I still do think about him sometimes because he was then where I am now. I'm ready for something. I'm ready to dive in and, you know, give my all. But we're too busy. I'm too busy running around behind these millennial fuckboys, and, you know, until I can get that out of my system, I'm probably not gonna find anybody. Oh, and I have to leave the house. I don't do that often. So I have to beef that up. The next guy I wanna talk about is Greg. So I met Greg during my sugar daddy phase, and I was probably about 26. Yeah, about 26. And I met Greg as well online on this website called Bear 411. And he was an older guy. He was probably about 62. And I was 25, and he was looking for him a little PYT, and he chose me. And I mean, this guy he was older, he was retired, he was well off, nice car, nice house, nice everything. He wanted to take care of me. I mean, extravagant dinners, extravagant gifts, responded every day with the well, at the beginning, responded every day with the good mornings and the good nights, and we sent pictures back and forth all day. He checked on me in the middle of the day. You know, I really kind of fell for this guy. And all of a sudden, like probably about 2 or 3 months into the relationship, he started doing this thing where he would disappear for like 1 or 2 days at a time. And it would concern me because, I mean, like, that's the worst thing you can do to me is ghost on me. I mean, that not only it hurts my feelings, but it also concerns me, especially with him, because he did have some health issues. So it did concern me to the point where I would start calling hospitals when he would disappear. But nothing would be wrong. He would just not be responding to my messages. And, you know, as a little 26-year-old finally getting into the real dating world and, you know, accepting of myself and everything like that, I wanted constant contact. I wanted him to be available to me. I wanted to be able to talk to him. And so I finally went ahead and I asked him, I'm like, what's up with you disappearing all the time? I really need you to like contact me daily, you know? I might have been asking for a bit much, but I put it out there, I asked, and he was just like, you know, some days I just don't want to communicate. And I'm like, some days you just don't want to communicate? And he was like, yeah. So I was just like, okay, this might not work out. But I didn't tell him that, of course. I didn't decide to have a conversation about it. I just straight up started doing things that were going to probably end the relationship because I'm not going to be the one to end it. I guess I wanted to be dubbed so I could have a sob story of some sort. Me back in the day. But so I started doing things where I would like text him and text him and text him on those days where he did not want to be contacted, or I drive by the house and, you know, go knock on the door. I would drive his. He had a second car that I would drive sometimes. A lovely little Infiniti. I would sometimes go by his house and switch the cars out, just little petty things, you know. And it finally got to the point where he was just like, look, I can't deal with you anymore. He's like, I think we're gonna be done with this. And I was just like, you're gonna be done with me, you're quitting me, blah, 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 blah. I went to this deep depression and sold my sob story to all my friends, and everyone comforted me and everything. Meanwhile, I'm still driving around in this car, which I kept until the registration came up. And when I called him and said, hey, the registration's up on the car, he was just like, I'm not renewing it for you. And I'm not putting the car in your name, so you can bring me my car. And being petty and young at the time, I went ahead and I dropped his car off on the corner of MLK and Chacon. And I sent him a text message and a picture message showing him where his car was and where he'd go pick it up. And I was done. Washed my hands with him. And what's funny is about 2 years later, he hits me up. And to this day, I'll tell you, I mean, I let him take me to dinner occasionally, and that's fine. I'm not gonna pass on that. I'll hang out, but I know there's no relationship there. And I know there's no relationship there because number one, I've gotten past my sugar daddy phase. I'm looking for someone that actually wants to be with me and it's gonna work out. And somebody that communicates. Even though now he claims that he's ready to settle down with somebody. But I'm like, sir, you're ready to settle down at 65 and I'm already over it. So, needless to say, that was one that I did purposely sabotage, but that one probably wouldn't have worked out anyway. The last one I'm going to talk about is one I've encountered lately in my millennial fuckboy phase. And I also met this guy online. I need to stop meeting guys online. Somebody set me up with somebody, shoot. But this is also a guy that I met here recently online, Growler. And I mean, this guy was fun. I mean, like, I was already drawn to the fact that, you know, he was fine. But he also started playing an interest in my life, asking me, you know, all the right questions and the good mornings and the good nights and giving me pet names and things like that. And you gotta watch these millennial fuckboys, you really do, because they truly don't tell you what they're there for. They show you, and they usually show you by the time you've already fallen for them, and then you end up in this deep dark pit, the sunken place, and you're stuck there for a while. But either way, this guy, he really got to know, tried to get to know me, and we went a lot of back and forth. You know, we talked about his parents and where he was from and things like that. And you know, I really started liking this guy. So we got on a little date, and we didn't, you know, talk about anything sexual or anything like that, which was cool. It was refreshing to, you know, go out with someone like that. I mean, we went bowling, we played pool, and it was just great. And I went back home that night, and I was totally smitten. I mean, I was really sweet on this guy. And about, I guess a week later, I had invited him to go somewhere, and he didn't show up. And I was really kind of hurt by that. But then he called me the next day, and I let him come over. And needless to say, things happened. And next thing you know, I'm even more in love. So it gets to this point where we're back on track with our texting and our talking every day. And then he disappears again. This is the second time. So now there's a pattern. So at this point, you know how I am. I'm not getting the communication that I'm looking for. But instead of, you know, just ignoring him, I got a little more intense. Continued texting, drove by the house, things like that. I might be a little crazy. But I mean, it didn't work out. And eventually he just disappeared. There was no talk about it. He just disappeared. And then one day again, he hit me up out of the blue and said he wanted to talk. I let him come over. Things happened, and then he disappeared again. And then that's when I realized, okay, I know what he's here for. And that's it. He's not here for a relationship. So I don't really think I sabotaged that one per se. But I probably sabotaged myself by letting me get so attached to him without figuring out what he really wanted at the beginning. So that's kind of just a little snapshot into my dating world in the past, and how I have sabotaged one really good relationship, or what could have been one really good relationship, one that really wasn't going anywhere, but it could have lasted a little longer, and one that was kind of non-existent. Even though at one point he was trying to pursue a relationship, but then it just didn't work out. So I don't know what to think of that. That it's actually still up in the air. I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't talked to him in a month or so, but it's cool. I'm all right. I'm still here. But anyway, until next time, flawlessly yours. Have a good one.